Hi guys, my name's Ellie, welcome to my channel, and today I want to play with this. This is the Dose of Colors Eyes Cream Palette. The inside looks like this. I was really excited about this when I got it, and then I wore it like once or twice, and I haven't really touched it since. And I want to play with it. Dose of Colors have sneak peeked their holiday palette, and it's really pretty looking, and that's what reminded me that I have most of those colors in their formula in the Eyes Cream palette. So if you do as well, let's play with them. I'm trying to, I know I'm about to buy a bunch of holiday stuff, but anything that's like super redundant or not exciting me, because that was when I was like, oh, that's really pretty, and it's like a nice periwinkle kind of purpley blue color, looks like some mid to deep, like mauvey brown type nude colors, and I'm like, that's really pretty. I wonder if, nope, Ellen, don't do that. You have those. You have those. You don't need them. So, that's what I wanted to play with, and I feel like I like the idea of Dose of Colors, and then a lot of their stuff they bring out just isn't unique enough to spark my interest. So I thought we'd chat about some of the things that come to mind when I talk about Dose of Colors, or when I hear them talked about. Let me see here. This does have a cream shade, so we're going to start with Berries and Cream, and just pop that all over my lid. Not all over my lid, crease to brow bone. And I do have something on. It's a very, very sheer something, because I don't know, trying not to use all my foundation up on the days that I'm off, because I have some coming in the mail, but I don't know when what I have currently is going to finish up, so we gotta make sure I don't kill it too early. So I thought I'd use this, which I'm supposed to be panning for 13 by Halloween, which I've kind of stayed in on a couple products, and a lot of them I've kind of forgotten about. So that's not good for my goals. So yeah, nice cream shade. Not too opaque, not too nothing. I am also then gonna put a bit of a shimmery cream over the top, just to preemptively highlight my brow bone. Get kind of frosty. So this palette, despite the fact that it was the first thing I really heard about from Dose of Colors, had two big appeals for me. One was Lavender Honey, because I didn't have any like this, and it was really pretty. Oh, what's her name? I'll try and link her, but there's a lovely lady I watch on YouTube. What is her name? She's got blonde hair that she dyes pink, and she does the pink right there a lot, and she's fantastic, and she has done panning and does a lot of reviews. Oh my god, what's her name? My brain's not going to give it to me. Anyway, she did a review of this and talked about how amazing Lavender Honey was, and I was also starting to get into the fact that I loved mint, so that was my big draw. And I think what I want to do is kind of like Raspberry Swirl on the crease with Sherbet on the lid, Lavender Honey on the lower lash line, and then mint chip on the inner corner. But we'll see what happens, because sometimes I start something and it goes somewhere totally else. But that was my first big introduction to Dose of Colors, with this lovely, like, fun but still neutral, like, theme palette. And that's lovely. I should use Blueberry Swirl more often. Yes, this is Blueberry Swirl we're putting on my crease. I'm not even sure I've used all of the shades in this palette. That's how silly I'm feeling right now. So yeah, I had this introduction to this lovely palette with like a nice theme and some good colors and just all of that. And I feel like the next couple things I saw from Dose of Colors, people talked about the treasure palette. I think it's Buried Treasure. That was a layout issue. Like, the colors looked really pretty, but again, they were quite neutral. And they were just these scattered bars that had no real layout purpose. That didn't make a ton of sense. And they were like, it's buried treasure, it's, yeah. And it just, nobody was excited about it. It was just kind of weird. I'm just going to keep putting Blueberry Swirl because I really like it. It's a lot more purple than I either remember and or thought. I don't know if I've used this color. I think I used Cone. I think that's what I did, which was more of the brown. But this is very purple, so this might change up my plans. Might change up my plans a lot. We'll go with it. We'll see what happens. We're gonna start with Lavender Honey on the lower lash line, and we'll decide what we're doing with the lid after I have both of these down. Well, that's really pale. That's the other thing. This palette is now 2 years old, and I never got that comfortable with the formula anyway, so who knows? Because, like, that's nice, but it's really soft. Very soft. Okay, so we are gonna go in with this guy. It's kind of like a flat packy brush, and see if we can't amp up Lavender Honey. That's really scratchy too. The brush is not. Not that the eyeshadow is scratchy, just the brush is very firm. I just don't know. It's not looking the way I was expecting. Let's try this brush and see if we can, like, both pack and blend. This is not going well. Anyway, I'm just going to keep playing with this while telling you. Yeah, so the next one I saw was the Buried Treasure palette, and it just didn't do anything for me. It was one of those, like, ooh, maybe I should get it because it's so neutral. But I was already kind of figuring out that neutral didn't mean I needed it. Yeah, this might not be one of my favorite palettes. Okay. And then I think I'm just going to take a little bit of Blueberry Swirl on that already quite large lower lash line and just play with it. See what happens. Yeah, I think I'll adjust as we keep going. Let's put a little Blueberry Swirl in the crease anyway. So yeah, I saw that, and even then I was starting to realize that I didn't need as many neutrals as were coming out. And people were not even, like, really talking about the quality. They were just so mad about it having that whatever it was listed as, what am I even talking about? Having that layout. That's what they were mad about. And just nobody really wanted to deal with it. Nobody was excited to buy it. Nobody was chomping at the bit to pick it up. I don't really know where I'm going next. I think we'll still attempt Sherbet. Pack down the lid and see what happens. This might be a horrifying fail look. We will find out. Oh, that's a pretty shadow. So yeah, that was what happened next. And I started to see, like the mauve and berry palettes. They have these all matte palettes that pop up, like, everywhere. And there was something about the packaging of that one that just looked kind of cheap to me. And since I didn't really have any history, I still don't really have a lot of history with drugstore makeup, the packaging was a big turnoff for me. And I just wasn't that interested in trying it. And, like, I understood the purpose of getting, like, some nice neutral shades and having a whole thing, but it just didn't appeal to me, so I never really picked them up, even though, like, I've seen them since, and I've kind of come around on the packaging. I'm like, maybe, and I'm like, you have too many. Don't buy just a handful of standard mattes for no reason other than it's there. And then I started doing collabs, which was also kind of interesting. I think I might have still been watching Desi. I don't watch either of them anymore just because their makeup style is very different than mine, and they weren't reviewing stuff in a way that was really relevant to my purchases. And, you know, when you realize that you have clicked past, like, 2 weeks of somebody's videos with absolutely no interest in looking at them, maybe you should stop being subscribed and stop cluttering your inbox with their videos. And that was my opinion. I think we're going to try a little bit of hot fudge on the outer edge to start adding some depth and see what happens. Okay, I can get into that. Yeah. And so, you know, it was one of those things where I saw it and I was like, that's really cool for them to get a collab, but I don't really need to buy it. And I was a little interested, but again, nothing really spoke to me, nothing really drew my attention worth picking up. And so I just never did. And now, I'm trying to think of some other stuff. I know they've come out with, like, they had, like, a lovely mint packaging collection, but most of the shades weren't mint. And that saddened me because I wanted them to be mint so I could buy them. Okay, yeah, so it's starting to look like a real look. To me. You know when you put some stuff on your face and you're just not really sure what's going to happen? That's where I was going. It's still not, you know, a super cohesive look for me, but I can see some more now. I am going to layer a little bit more sherbet on the front, make sure that that isn't lost. Yeah. And I'm going to take a little bit of hot fudge, that dark brown, on the outer edge of my lower lash line to help add some depth. Yeah. Still not my favorite look, but yeah, so it was one of those things where I saw them doing collabs, and I was like, cool, a product from Dose, and then I was just not that into it. And I've never been the biggest fan of liquid lips, which is another thing they were very popular with, is their liquid lip formula. I don't really wear liquid lipsticks. I rarely remember to wear lipstick at all, so I've just seen a lot of things and been like, oh, cool, but I don't need it. And, ooh, the question is, I think I want to mix mint chip and banana split on my lid, well, on my inner corner, and see what happens. Something happened. kind of like it. I think I'm going to take a different brush and just get a little bit of Banana Split on the top, just to make sure we don't get too cold up in here. I don't think that did anything, but I'm going to do it on the other side because I did it on one and we want to match. That's quite nice. Banana Split layered over sherbet is pretty. Okay, so yeah, that's where I am with my look. It's not my favorite look. I think what I've learned in my quick usage of this palette is Lavender Honey might fall under the same thing I have issue with a lot of pastels, is they just don't pack the punch I want them to. And for something like that, I need it to be a bit stronger. And maybe I'm used to other palettes that in order for them to have that punch, they kind of deepen on the skin. But there's just... let's put a little bit more Lavender Honey. I'm sure it's very good for a pastel shade. I just am not likely to use this shade very much. Because yeah, like I like it at that little inner pop here, but I didn't like it all across the lid, lower lash line. And the formula is nice. They take a little building, they're a little powdery. The shimmers are pretty, but again, just I feel like I've had other things since then that have added a lot more oomph. And so maybe I'm just not as in love with this palette as I thought I was going to be. Maybe I need to play with it more. Who knows? But yeah. That's the other thing is I'd used this a couple times and it hadn't blown me away, and so the price of a lot of Dose of Color items made it something I was like, I don't know. And like the black powder shadows didn't really interest me because the colors were nice, but I don't need a bunch more singles, and a lot of them were neutral tones, and just it's nice. I'm sure it's rounding out your collection Dose of Colors, but it was just not that interesting. And coming in with something like this that really did feel interesting to me means that a lot of the other items ended up as kind of a letdown. Kind of a, oh, so you're not going to keep going with like cool themes and interesting things and, oh. So, this is the look so far. I'm going to finish up the rest of my face and I'll be back. And this is the finished look. I got some highlighter, try and like tie in the purple, which is kind of just getting lost, which I'm not that upset about, but also kind of reminded me that there's a reason I don't use most of my lavender shadows, because I don't know if I'm just not used to that type of a color, or if it really just doesn't look the way I want it to look for me. Maybe I need to play with it more. Maybe I don't. Yeah, so I kind of wish that Dose of Colors would do more things like this. Like, it's great that they're collaborating with creators and making those, inspired products, but for anybody who's not into those influencers or not into their style, we could use a little something else. Something a little bit more unique, something that, I don't know, does some stuff. Do you have some favorite collections from Dose? Let me know. Did I completely forget some releases that were much more interesting? Because that's also an option. I just see Dose of Colors and I'm just not that interested or inspired anymore, which is unfortunate because this palette I was so excited for. And I think I got lost in my collection with buying multiple at once, and means I just haven't used it as much. Probably should. I really like mint. Blueberry Swirl was lovely. I've used bubblegum a couple times, and I think it's just something I have to, that's going to be one of those I need to, oh, it's not even that reflecty. Yeah, it's like a soft shine, so that's something I could work into more looks. And the majority of this palette, if you take out that and that, that's a pretty neutral standard palette, and I just haven't used it. So, talk to me about Dose of Colors. Talk to me about the interesting side of it. Tell me if you have any better ways of using that purple, because it just didn't do it for me today. Mint does. The mint is pretty. The upper lid's pretty. We'll just go around like that all day. It'll be fine. But yeah, that's where I am. Not the most thrilled with my look, but it's powders on my face. I think we'll be fine. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.